और आपका आज की वीडियो
स्वागत है।
और आज जो वीडियो हम लेकर आए हैं उसकी सजेशन हमें काफी ज्यादा मिली है और अच्छी बात मुझे ये लगी है कि कुछ हमारे सब्सक्राइबर्स ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने हमें ये बोला है कि उन्होंने ये वीडियो अभी तक नहीं देखी और वो हमारे साथ बैठकर देखना चाहते हैं और वो इंतजार कर रहे हैं, तो उसके लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है। और वीडियो कौन सी है वो बताएंगे मौसम।
टाइटल है सदगुरु's मैसेज फॉर जेन जी मतलब जनरेशन जी, यंग प्रोफेशनल्स एंड फ्यूचर लीडर्स, द रणवीर शो 182।
वैसे ये जेन जी कुछ नया ही वर्ड है, मतलब इंटरनेट पर हम लोगों को देखना पड़ता है, अदरवाइज हम लोग जनरल जी ही समझ रहे थे। तो चलिए देख लेते हैं ये वीडियो, लेकिन उससे पहले
वीडियो के चैनल का विजुअल लिंक आपको हमारी वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन मिल जाएगा। सब्सक्राइब करें, लाइक करें, शेयर करें, फॉलो करेंगे चैनल को। उसके बाद मैं ब्लॉगिंग चैनल का लिंक और इंस्टाग्राम का लिंक भी हमारी वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन मिल जाएगा। सब्सक्राइब करें, लाइक करें, शेयर करें, फॉलो करें।
चलिए देख लेते हैं ये वीडियो।
The much awaited conversation with the legend Sadhguru is finally here. The last time I spoke to him, it was 2018. I was a very different person. The questions I had, the thoughts I had were extremely different as compared to my perspectives at this stage in life. It's been 2.5 to 3 years of a lot of knowledge absorption, and I hope that if you enjoyed that conversation that we had back then, you'll enjoy this conversation even more. It's aimed at all the Gen Zs out there, it's aimed at college students, it's aimed at young professionals, and above all, it's aimed at the leaders of the human race in the future. Why? Because this conversation touches upon a lot of topics, including the Save Soil movement. What is the Save Soil movement? Sadhguru will tell you himself on the show, but what's to be noted is that because of climate change, because of deforestation, because of pollution caused by human beings, soil all over the world is losing its quality, and therefore that means that we might face an entire phase of food shortages and famines all over the world in as less as 40 years from now. This and more on this very crucial conversation with Sadhguru on the Ranveer Show. Enjoy yourselves. Follow us on Spotify. TRS is a Spotify exclusive, which means that every episode is available on Spotify 48 hours before it's available anywhere else in the world. This conversation is going to blow you away if spiritual conversations are what you're in the search for. Namaskaram. Enjoy the episode with Sadhguru. Namaskaram, Sadhguru. I think this has already become one of the most fascinating moments of my life, being in the middle of nature, speaking with you. So, I last spoke to you in like this in 2018, and I feel like I was a child back then. I feel I'm a little older of a child now. But that night, I mean, that conversation had such a deep impact on me because of the things you answered my questions with. Like the answers you gave me the answers I needed exactly at that point in time. And that night, I actually had a dream about you.
This time I'll treat you like an adult, okay?
happy to just be next to you and be talking to you. Doesn't matter how you treat it.
This is the thing with me. Even if they're 70 years of age, I treat them like children and they slowly become like that with me. That is the whole thing. With time, people are getting crusted. That is the whole thing about life, that you don't get crusted and rusted just because of time.
No, I agree.
So I'll still treat you as a child, okay?
Happy and honored to. Happy and honored to be treated like a child. Sadhguru, it just breaks my heart that I'm having such a beautiful moment here with you, and our world is in the middle of a war right now.
Not the world, only two nations.
Two nations.
No, it's very important we don't exaggerate this, because we should never move into that thing about 2 world wars have happened. We should never ever move in that direction. Conflict should not happen, but in case it happens, at least it must be contained. Everybody should not jump into it.
What do you think goes on in those few men's minds, the ones who are the decision makers? Why would you consciously choose to go to war? It can't just be for economic reasons. There has to be a thought of ego as well, I feel.
See, these are very superfluous judgments, but we must understand all this is rooted in our strong sense of identity, and we want our identity to dominate somebody else's identity. So nationhood is a very strong identity. The identity is consciously built and encouraged to a point that you're willing to shed your life for your nation. which is always considered a great virtue, right? If I'm willing to shed my life for my nation, I'm also willing to take your life for that. That is a natural process. Whether it is nation, race, religion, caste, creed, or even your individuality, if you're unnecessarily identified, you will get into unnecessary levels of friction and conflict.
Sadhguru, but isn't identity just another word for ego? Like I've constantly been thinking lately a lot about this concept of ego. The more you think about…
See, when you say it's a concept of ego, that means you made it up. Why do you make it up?
Okay, fair. My follow-up question…
I didn't make it up, so I don't have it.
These are the kind of answers that just play with my head. Okay. And I'm not ready for the next question yet, but I'm still gonna throw it at you. So, okay, the next question, honestly, is the other kind of concept that fascinates me a lot in this world and kind of still makes me feel bittersweet about the times that we live in. It's this concept of Gen Z, which is Generation Z, which means kids that are roughly born after 97.
Wait. If you're Generation Z, don't ever say that because that means you're the last generation. Well, that's one thing I'm trying to avoid, that you should not be the last generation. What does Gen Z mean, huh? Z is the last word, last alphabet.
I think culturally, I am a millennial because I'm born pre-97.
I am also 20th century millennial.
No, I think
Which millennia are you talking about?
I think those are the cultural kind of terms given to…
All right, but don't use the word Gen Z. That means you are the last generation. Please don't be that.
Okay,
We'll call you Gen A.
Okay. I think the next one's called Gen Alpha. Just we go back to the start.
Oh, okay, it's a circular moment of alphabets.
So I work…
Once you learn the alphabets, you must go into words. Once you get the words, you must go into sentences. Once you go into sentences, you go into literature. Okay, don't keep on repeating the alphabets, man.
I work with a lot of these Gen Zs and some Gen Alphas. What I notice about them is that…
Ask them to find a different name. Gen Z is dangerous, huh? It means you're the last generation, don't do that.
Yeah, I think it's a cool sounding name, maybe in our heads as youth. But anyway, so the one thing I notice about them is that they're incredibly intelligent, far more intelligent than my generation was at that age, 17, 18. And you talk to some 13, 14-year-olds and they're even smarter than this Gen Z generation. So I look at them as like both blessed and slightly cursed. Cursed because we're living in the times of the virus. We're living in the times of this particular incident we spoke about, like the war. And then we're also living in the times of ecological damage. The good thing about Gen Z and Gen Alpha is that they're way more environmentally conscious, they're way more intelligent, they're way more strategic. They know how to use technology, design, social media much better. But I'm very curious to kind of think of their trajectory in this world. What kind of world are they heading into?
See, every generation thinking they are special is a very bad thing. Unfortunately, every generation thinks they are special. So we come from the 60s. The 60s generation thought they are really special people, all right? And they became a disaster. Don't go in that direction because this thing thinking this generation is more intelligent, that generation is more conscious, it's not like that. Because by doing that, you're shirking your individual responsibility.
What do you mean?
See, you got to be smart. My generation is smart, what does it mean? Whether you're smart or dumb is the only question that matters, isn't it? Whether you're conscious or not is what our generation is more conscious. There's no such thing. This is the whole… People find 1,000 different ways as to how to shift the fundamental responsibility of being human to something else and something else. You're talking about Gen Z can handle their phone better than me. Maybe it's true because that's what they were born with. I could climb a tree better than any Gen Z, huh? Probably even now I can do it better. I can ride a motorcycle better than most Gen Zs, huh? So what? I'm saying, whatever was available to us in our times, we've become good with it. That doesn't make us smarter.
So, what world are they heading into though? Like, what do you think is in store for us over the next 10, 20 years?
Well, if they're only looking at the phone screen or the computer screen, they're heading at your wall. You need to look up and see where is life going around you. It's very important. You're misunderstanding technology and, the screen space as a reality. No, technology is a wonderful tool, only if you use it consciously. If you become unconscious and compulsive about it, today in United States they've set up technology de-addiction centers, okay? Just like drug de-addiction, technology de-addiction. They're going crazy with technology. Technology has done wonders to me. We're doing 100 times the work that we were doing maybe 15, 20 years ago, simply because of technology. I think it's a great thing, but somebody else is suffering that. Human beings are even suffering their own brains, isn't it? If they didn't have a brain, they would be peaceful. Because they have a brain, they're saying stress, stress, stress. Because you don't know how to handle the highest technology which is here. On this planet, the greatest technology on the planet is the human mechanism. People who don't know how to handle it, people who never read the user's manual, they are suffering, their body and their mind.
I have two follow-up questions to this.
Yes, sir.
The first one is, are you familiar with the whole Metaverse revolution that's happening? And the second…
It's not a revolution. I've heard about Metaverse, I know what it means. Metaverse.
Yeah, it's like virtual reality.
Worse.
That's the follow-up question. That's the
I'm
second
not
question.
against any technology, I'm for it. Only if you know how to consciously handle it. See, right now, isn't this Metaverse?
Yeah.
Hello?
That was the question. Like, I just hope that the technologies of the future don't take us away from nature, because we are living in a beautiful civilization.
Because you'll be wearing those VR glasses and you will completely not look at the world.
Yeah.
See, right now, if you pay enough attention to this is super Metaverse, believe me. People have never paid attention. I've lived in jungles, spent weeks together just by myself. What's happening here? Not simple. Even today when I'm talking about the soil, everybody's saying, Sadhguru, how did you become an environmentalist? From where? I think it's quite vulgar to call yourself an ecologist, environmentalist, whatever. I'm not saying as a scientific terminology. Generally people calling themselves, because you are a part of the ecology. You are a part of the environment. How the hell did you assume that you're above it and you're going to fix something? You are part of it. You're just outcome of it, isn't it? True. What's happening in the soil and who you are is just a reflection. It's a consequence of what's happening there. So, we assume this distance, especially if you wear these VR glasses and walk around all the time, you will never see life around you, nor experience life around you. So all you are having is like a psychedelic experience. At that time, during my time, everybody was doing that with LSD. Well, 12, 13 of my friends died doing these things. I thought, they always said I will kill myself on my motorcycle, but I'm still here. They did drugs and they thought that is better because they were seeing worlds that didn't exist, and many of them died. Others got sick. So, they were doing Metaverse with chemicals, you're doing Metaverse with technology. All that will happen is your mind will get distorted, because the mind is a reflection of what you're exposed to. If you're more and more exposed to the unity and the harmony of the creation, that's how your mind will become. If more and more you're exposed to all these aberrations, however great it is in terms of creating, it's entertainment means you do it 1 or 2 hours, that's a different thing. But if you think that is a new world and people are buying real estate, hello? People are buying real estate in Metaverse, there can't be a dumber thing than that, okay? See, you buy a real estate in the false world. False estate, it's not a real estate.
Especially after the conversation I heard of yours with Prajakta right now, just before this, where you were kind of dishing out pieces of truth from the near future, where you said that 90% of the organic content in soil has deteriorated all over the world. You know, you spoke a lot about generally the deterioration of our planet. I feel like that's the pertinent issue, but people don't focus on all the holes in the boat. They just focus on making the boat larger and larger. And we're speaking about billionaires of the world like Elon Musk, all these people, they're trying to colonize Mars, they're trying to do all that terraforming. But here our planet is getting affected. And I feel that's the issue that Gen Z needs to talk about a lot more. Sorry, Gen whatever, Gen... but the younger folks need to know these truths.
You can call them, instead of Z, a closer term would be C, Gen confused. That's not a popular thing to say, but I'm telling you, this is very important that you don't label yourself. Already people are putting enough labels on you. You are Indian, you are brown, you are white, you are this religion, that caste, this creed, all kinds of rubbish labels they're putting on you. Don't put one more label on yourself, because every label will restrict you in some way, isn't it? Will it not?
Yeah.
So don't put any labels. Why don't you just live here as a living thing, breathe and exist and reverberate at the highest possible level? That's all you can do with life. Rest is all your imagination. Do not misunderstand your imagination as reality, this is very important. If you confuse psychological reality as existential reality, you will suffer immensely in your life. This is what is happening to people. What is it that they're suffering? Or is somebody putting pins into your body? No, you're just suffering your own mind, isn't it? The greatest thing that's happened on this planet, if you ask me, in terms of technology and in terms of possibility, is human mind. But you suffer that all the time. And if I say, it doesn't matter whether you were born yesterday or you were born 100 years ago, if you are suffering your own mind, you are Gen Z.
Yeah. How do we get people generally to just be a part of the safe soil movement? After your chat with Prajakta, I have understood the significance of it. But my question, maybe this is a capitalistic question, but how do we actually grip people's attention and tell them, listen, this is what's wrong with the planet?
See, first thing is, the younger generation needs to understand food comes from land. Your body that you carry, which matters to you, this comes from land, this is land. This is called human because this is a consequence of the humus in the land. So take some time to find out how much humus is left wherever you are. You're living in a city, everything is paved, all right? Paved land and plowed land, disaster on the planet. It is very important, soil is a recycle all the time. Dead life is going into it and life is coming out of it. The most miraculous thing about soil is this. The miracle of the soil is that nowhere in this entire universe is there a place where you can sow death and it sprouts life, bursts out with life. Bury something dead here and just see in a few days how much life will be happening around it. Tell me, show me one place in the entire universe where this can happen. So right now, the kind of things people are imagining up, making up in their minds is, about a week ago, there is somebody who's got a startup, okay? If you pay $1.7 million to him, when you die, you can book it right now. When you die, whenever you die, they will take your body and leave it in the space. Because there's no oxygen out there and there's no microbial life, your body will not rot, it'll just remain the same way. For millions of years, your body can float around in the space. Maybe you can catch a ride on some spaceship. I'm saying, the body that you carry is essentially soil. If you did not do anything eco-friendly, at least when you die, you must put it back where it belongs. Hello? That's the simplest thing you can do. But today, they're putting them in boxes and preserving them in buildings, like parking lots they've built for people to be stored in boxes. This box belongs to your grandmother, you can go and put flowers there. What is the point of preserving a dead body? It must go back, because we have no business, it's a loan that we have taken. We have to put it back when our job is done, isn't it? So, doing these kind of things is all coming from the ignorance of how life happens. Life If you utter the word carbon, everybody thinks something noxious, something poisonous today because of so much talk happening in the social media about carbon, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. Carbon is life. You and me are carbon life. This tree is carbon life. Every animal is carbon life, isn't it? This entire world, life, the fundamental material for life is carbon-based. And right now, what you call as life on one level is just a whole carbon cycle. If there is a chain which is making something, let's say motorcycles have chains, these days these chains that we have today on these motorcycles, modern motorcycles, they don't give us so much trouble. Otherwise, when I was riding motorcycle, every 500, 600 kilometers, you have to check your chain because it'll become loose. If you ride like that, it'll come off and cause a disaster for you, okay? Every 600 kilometers, 700 kilometers, you have to check it. 1,000 kilometers, you have to take off a link because the material was such. Today, modern chains are made in such a way, we're just not bothered, we're simply riding. There also you must maintain, but when you're on a single trip, you don't have to bother. So a chain, any chain, is a cycle, like that. Any chain is only as strong as an individual link. You don't have to break the whole chain. If you break one link, it's gone, right? Right now, this chain, the carbon chain is going on, all right, to keep the life going. That's the only way life is going. But the agricultural soil on the planet, which is one big link in the chain, has become too weak. If that breaks, life is not going to be good. Life, you can order from your food from Swiggy, Piggy, wherever you like it. But somebody has to cook it, right? Somebody is cooking the food. The delivery mechanism won't deliver it to you. Somebody is cooking the food, somebody is growing the food. Delivery can happen on technology app. Do not misunderstand the delivery as the source. You're eating food not because of a food app. You're eating food not because of a store. You're eating food not because of your kitchen. You're eating food only because of the richness of the soil. If you don't understand this, we will pay a serious price. Unfortunately, in the last 30, 40 years, we have missed this point and caused enormous damage to the soil, where 62% of India's soil has less than 0.5% organic content. This is on the verge of desertification. We are partners with UNCCD, the UN agency to combat desertification. This is the biggest concern right now. The world is turning into a desert. If people don't understand how it turns into a desert, Saudi Arabia means you see a desert, right? 10,000 years ago, it was a rainforest. Gujarat was a, well-endowed forest. Rajasthan was a forest. When the Saraswati river flowed on the surface, all these were forests. The moment it was deprived and certain things changed and people did not understand what was happening, they all turned into harsh deserts. This is what will happen. It is not that tomorrow morning there'll be sand dunes in your neighborhood. That's not the point, because then you may think it's very romantic, you can go and sing a song there, like a movie star or something. That is not how it'll happen. Food production will slowly slide. It's not like one day suddenly there'll be no food. It slowly slides. Even today, for all of you young people who are well-to-do, who have choice of foods to eat, I want you to understand every day, even today, 820 million people go to bed without food. It's expected by 2032, nearly 1.5 billion to 2 billion people will be going to bed without food. It's expected by 2045, nearly 3 to 3.5 billion people will be going to bed without food. Is that what you want to do? And what makes you think it won't be you? What is the guarantee? It's not you. You always think these things happen to somebody else. No, it'll happen to you and me.
I've been reading a lot of historians' work like Graham Hancock, Yuval Noah Harari, and they keep talking about how history is so deep that there's no way we can even know what happened before 10,000 years or 20,000 years. So I always think that maybe there were civilizations that actually made some wrong moves from an environmental perspective, and Mother Nature came to bite back. Do you think this is another cycle, like just like that?
See, it has happened. Not on the scale it's happening now, because now it's global. Mayan civilization collapsed because they overfarmed. Mesopotamia, one of the greatest civilizations in the world between two rivers, that collapsed because of overfarming. Rome as a civilization collapsed because of overfarming. Because those days there was no massive transportation systems like railways or ships and things like that, once they could not grow food, that city would collapse. Today we can say you are not growing any food in Mumbai, all right, but you can get food from all over the world. But how long do you think it'll work? Without the needed food growing around you, how long will it work? And once there is a shortage in that source, they will stop sending food to you. Already it's happening to many places.
Okay, the next question I'm going to ask might sound a little rude, and I apologize.
I'll also be rude, no problem.
That's fine. You're allowed to be rude, yeah. But and I'm asking you this from the perspective of me studying a book called the Garud Puran lately, which speaks about death. So
Oh, you're thinking what punishment I should get, is it?
no. It got me thinking about my own death and everything I wanted to do before my death. So all these campaigns you're taking on, be it Save Soil, be it Kaveri Calling, are you doing it from a perspective of you want to create an impact in the next 20, 30 years? Because you're doing some extreme stuff like the 30,000 kilometer bike ride, it's harsh on anyone's body. So it gets me thinking that, firstly, Sadhguru, it's a two-pronged question. I'm very sorry if this is coming off as rude, but I'm curious. Do you ever think about your own, your own moment in time? And secondly, how do you…
My moment in time, I'm fully sorted out on that. Completely sorted out. I don't have such bother at all in life.
Do you think about it at all?
No, because I will decide that moment. I'm not thinking it'll happen like that to me.
What are you waiting for?
Huh?
Why…
You asking why am I not dead?
Why have you not chosen… Why have you not chosen it yet?
Well, still the water is flowing. People around me are still thirsty to know and to grow. If they show little boredom in front of me, I'll be gone. They better know that. Yes, that's how simple it is for me. People who sit in front of me, if they show boredom, they think, what is he talking about? Well, I'll be gone.
Okay, I met you 4 years ago, and again, this is going to be a slightly rude question. I apologize to like everyone here. I see what you're trying to do. I've visited the ashram. I've come to Coimbatore. I've seen all the work that's going on. I've seen the energy of everyone, and there's a lot of good intent here, especially when it comes to the environment. Especially
Not a lot of good intent. Only good intent.
There's only good intent here. And you have people in the world of politics, people in the world of media. I would even say the entire left wing of the country, always trying to pull you down. I feel those same people, there's pockets of it which try to pull me down as well. And by the way, I'm called Gen Z Sadhguru, which is like, I feel embarrassed. But, these kind of narratives are out there. So how do you perceive all that, sir? Like, what do you make of that situation when you're trying to do so much good and people are misinterpreting you, they're trying to pull you down? Because I'm actually asking you this from my own perspective, if I could learn something.
See, if you are very clear that what you're doing is significant for every life around you, other people's opinion means nothing.
But
I'm saying for 30 years plus, they've been saying the same things. They're not even creative, they're not able to come up with anything new. All right, same things they are saying. But they've not gotten anywhere because they have no substance. There's no substance to anything that they have said. So, it's unfortunate that they are in that state. But what I see is every daily mystic quote is there, daily quote. All these people are just waiting. One thing that they don't understand, suddenly all of them will get together and make the Twitter trend. I'm so glad. Because every day they're reading my quotes, even the people who are here are not reading. They're reading, okay. I am saying every day carefully they're reading my quote. The day they don't understand, they think I've made a mistake. And boom, they'll go. I'm glad. I have worked in prisons, both in India and United States. I have worked with hardcore criminals who have come for murder, rape, worst possible things that a man can do. For those things they have come. And I've seen significant transformation in their lives simply because of 2 days or 5 days of contact with me. These guys who are continuously following me, I'm very confident one day they will be very transformed. I wish them the best.
But it's not just about the opinion, Sadhguru. I feel if you are in the middle of your own purpose, sometimes people will
Yes, it unfortunately takes a certain amount of energy, time, resource to handle this. But see, they also enhance the message.
Any publicity is good publicity.
I don't think this is publicity. I've never looked for publicity. Actually, people may find this difficult to understand. I'm an extremely private person, really. I'm public because I consider all of them as part of myself, only in that sense. Otherwise, I'm not public in any sense. So, it takes a certain amount of, in your stride, a little bit of extra… It's like you're walking and somebody hangs onto your leg, you still have to walk, you walk, but they're lightweight. It's okay. I'm saying, with all whatever they've been doing for 25 years, they're not able to prove one point and say, okay, this has actually happened. How long will people believe this kind of trash endlessly? Slowly they're losing their traction, they're feeling stupid. Many of them have started following us in a positive way. Many journalists who… from yellow magazines and stuff, who started this whole scandalous thing about us, today they're all devotees here. Others will come.
What do you think is that person's journey who has that much anger in their heart?
See, some of them are genuinely angry because there is bitterness in them.
From their own life?
Yes. Lack of being significant in the world. This is not just about me. They're attacking sports people, they're attacking actors, they're attacking artists. Anybody who is successful, they're attacking them because they're anti-success. They want to succeed, but they must have failed repeatedly in their lives, in everything that they do. Now anybody who is successful, they want to pull them down. Just tell me who's been spared, which arena of life has been spared. Politicians who are elected, they will pull them down. Sports persons who are very super successful, they pull them down. Spiritual people, of course, the thing is on. But they don't pull down all the spiritual people. If they're ineffective, if they're not a big success, they're not pulling them down, they're not disagreeing with them. All right?
बात करें अगर आज इस कन्वर्सेशन की, तो सबसे पहले मैं वॉर वाली जो है बात करना चाहूँगा कि नो डाउट ईगो का तो एक मसला रहता है, लेकिन एक दूसरे के ऊपर अपनी जो है वो डोमिनेंस शो करना, ये एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है कि वाकई जितने भी आप… अगर हम मुल्कों की तो बात छोड़ ही देना, हम अगर अपने माशरे में भी देखें ना, जो अमीर है वो अपने से नीचे वाले तबके पर जो है एक डोमिनेंस दिखाना चाहता है, जो उससे अमीर है वो उससे नीचे वाले जो अमीर हैं उन पे अपनी एक डोमिनेंस दिखाना चाहता है।
बिल्कुल, ये तो अगर जैसे हम लोग बात कर लें कि अगर हम किसी डिपार्टमेंट में हैं तो उसमें जिस तरीके से बिल्कुल आपको ऑफिशियल्स नजर आते हैं वो उस तरीके से डोमिनेट करते हैं। बट इससे पहले कि मैं कुछ बोलूं, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि सदगुरु जी के सामने बैठना, तो मुझे लगता है कि आपको टू द पॉइंट बात करनी चाहिए। लाइक जिस तरीके से उन्होंने चीज बहुत सही बोली कि एग्जैजुरेट करने का कोई फायदा नहीं होता, मतलब एग्जैजुरेट नहीं करना चाहिए हमें चीजों को। जो जिस तरीके से चीजें हमें नजर आती हैं और जो उनकी एक उनका एक इम्पैक्ट है या जिस वजह से वो स्टार्ट हुई है, हमें उसी तरीके से बात करनी चाहिए।
बिल्कुल।
बट उसके साथ साथ जो टेक्नोलॉजी के लेकर उन्होंने जेनजी की बात हुई, ऑनेस्टली बोलूं मुझे जेनजी के बारे में नहीं पता था।
मुझे भी नहीं था मालूम।
हम बहुत पुराने हैं।
हम बहुत पुराने हैं, हमें जेनजी का बिल्कुल नहीं मालूम। और टेक्नोलॉजी की मैं बात करूँ तो नो डाउट जो टेक्नोलॉजी की सदगुरु जी ने बात की है वो बिल्कुल हकीकत है। हम बसेस में ट्रैवल कर रहे हो, मेट्रो हो, ट्रेन हो, कोई भी हो, हमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता हमारे साथ कौन बैठा है, हमारे पास से कौन गुजर गया, हमें कुछ पता ही नहीं होता। मैं लिटरली भाई मैं भी उसमें इंक्लूड हूँ, मैं शामिल हूँ इस चीज में।
एक ये जो इसमें डिस्कस हुआ है ना कि अमेरिका में जो क्या था,
डिटेंशन सेंटर्स बनाए गए हैं टेक्नोलॉजी से।
एग्जैक्टली। तुम मौजम को भी वहां पर थोड़ा सा भेजना
नहीं, मैं लिटरली उतना नहीं हूँ, यानी कि
अभी मैं बताती हूँ, अभी तुम उतने नहीं हो। अदरवाइज पहले मौजम की ये आदत होती थी कि अगर कोई आया भी है, किसी के पास हम लोग बैठे भी हैं, मौजम कॉन्टिन्यूसली मोबाइल यूज करता रहा। और मुझे ये आदत बहुत बुरी लगी, इनफैक्ट बाकी घर वालों को भी बहुत बुरी लगी, क्योंकि ये थोड़ा मतलब डिसरिस्पेक्ट आप करते हो अगले बंदे को जिसके साथ आप बैठे हो।
बिल्कुल,
आप उसको टाइम दो। तो फिर हम लोगों ने इसको समझाना शुरू किया।
अब ये मेरा डिटेंशन सेंटर ये है। लेकिन लिटरली यहाँ पर जो है ना, जहाँ पे टेक्नोलॉजी की बात होती है, टेक्नोलॉजी का नशा एक वाकई ऐसा है कि आप जब इस पे जुड़ जाते हैं ना तो आप इस पे बहुत आगे निकल जाते हैं। इसकी सबसे जो मुझे बड़ी एग्जांपल आजकल नजर आती है, क्योंकि टेक्नोलॉजी में भी बेसिकली हम सॉफ्टवेयर ही यूज कर रहे होते हैं, तो पबजी मुझे एक जो है बहुत बड़ी इसकी एग्जांपल नजर आती है कि बहुत सारे हम वाकयात जो हैं इस तरह के सुनते हैं जो कि पबजी की वजह से होते हैं। इवन के पाकिस्तान में तो बहुत फेमस लोग तो क्या ही उनकी बात करें। तो टेक्नोलॉजी वाकई एक बहुत खतरनाक चीज है अगर आप उसका जो है ना एक गैर जरूरी इस्तेमाल करते हैं।
एक्चुअली जिस तरीके से सदगुरु जी ने बोला ना कि टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि टेक्नोलॉजी वाकई में बहुत अच्छी चीज है। मैं यहाँ पर ये नहीं कह रही कि मौजम ये समझ रहा है कि टेक्नोलॉजी अच्छी चीज नहीं, क्योंकि मौजम बाद में ये कह देना है, इसलिए मैंने कहा पहले क्लियर कर दूं।
नहीं,
तो टेक्नोलॉजी वाकई में बहुत अच्छी चीज है, बट आई थिंक इसमें हमारी बहुत एक गलती मुझे लगती है बड़ों की, कि जब उन्होंने टेक्नोलॉजी को बच्चों के हाथ में दिया ना, तो उन्होंने उसका इस्तेमाल करना उस तरीके से नहीं बताया है कि आपने किस तरीके से बैलेंस्ड वे में इसका यूज करना है। वो बच्चे इस कदर इन्वॉल्व हो चुके हैं आजकल के टाइम में कि उनको उनका जो एक लाइफ है या उनकी जो हम कहेंगे कि दुनिया है ना, वो उसी एक मोबाइल फोन में या लैपटॉप में बनकर रह गई है। उसके बाहर क्या है, लाइफ किस तरीके से गुजार सकते हैं या गुजारनी चाहिए, या टाइम किस तरीके से देना चाहिए, ये चीज बच्चों को समझ में नहीं आती। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं हमारी भी बहुत बड़ी गलती है इस चीज में कि हम बच्चों को उस तरीके से चीजें नहीं समझा पाए। दूसरा मुझे ये लगता है कि उसके साइड इफेक्ट्स वाकई में ये नजर आते हैं कि आजकल की जनरेशन आपको कंफ्यूज भी नजर आती है, कि बहुत सारी चीजों में वो आपको कंफ्यूज नजर आती है यार। अब एक बहुत ज्यादा लाइक इंटेलिजेंट हैं, स्मार्ट हैं, अगर हम लोग लास्ट जनरेशन से देखें तो मे बी उनसे ज्यादा उनको चीजों के बारे में नॉलेज भी होगा। लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं पर अगर हम देखें प्रैक्टिकली तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जो बड़े होते हैं उनकी बातों को वो लोग उस तरीके से समझ नहीं पाते लाइफ को लेकर, कि जिस तरीके से आपको प्रैक्टिकली चीजों को लेकर चलना चाहिए।
यह मैं बात यहाँ भी ये करने लगा था कि आज से अगर हम जो है ना पीछे चले जाएं, यानी कि 15-20 साल पीछे चले, जब टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी नई थी तो इनके दुनिया में तो थी, यहाँ पर इतनी नहीं थी। तब क्या होता था कि हमारी जो कन्वर्सेशंस होती थी ना वो हमारे फैमिली मेंबर्स के साथ बहुत ज्यादा होती थी। लेकिन जैसे जैसे जो है टाइम आगे चलता गया, गैजेट्स आते गए डिफरेंट। सबसे पहले तो गैजेट्स बहुत ज्यादा महंगे थे, अफोर्डेबल नहीं थे लोगों के लिए। लेकिन जैसे जैसे टेक्नोलॉजी मजीद आई, गैजेट्स लोगों के वो आप कह लें कि बाइंग पावर में बहुत ज्यादा आना शुरू हो गए। तो जैसे इनकी टेक्नोलॉजी बढ़ती गई ना, जो पेरेंट्स और रिलेटिव्स जो एक वो उनके बीच बॉन्डिंग थी ना, उसमें एक बहुत ज्यादा गैप जो है वो देखने को मिलता है, अभी भी मिलता है। अब चीजें आपको उस तरह नहीं मिलेंगी, एक मिठास जो होती थी रिश्तों में वो नहीं मिलेगी आपको, क्योंकि टेक्नोलॉजी में हम इतने ज्यादा इन्वॉल्व हो चुके हैं। ऑन द अदर साइड में ये भी कहते हो कि टेक्नोलॉजी के फायदे बहुत ज्यादा हैं, लेकिन आप उसे मिसयूज करते हैं ना तो वो गलत है।
देखो मौजम, मैं जिस तरीके से पहले अभी पिछली बात की है, जब आप नींव ही गलत रखोगे ना तो फिर चीजें कभी भी सही नहीं हो सकती। हमने बच्चों को टेक्नोलॉजी से फेमिलियर तो कर दिया, बट उसका इस्तेमाल, उसमें बैलेंस किस तरीके से रखना है, उस चीज की तरफ हम लोगों ने ध्यान नहीं दिया। और एक चीज बिल्कुल सदगुरु की जो बात है मैं उससे एग्री करूंगी, और मुझे ये चीज बड़ी अच्छी उनकी बात लगी कि हर जनरेशन वाकई में अपने आप को स्पेशल कंसीडर करती है। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, एक्चुअल में हम लोग को बहुत नॉर्मल लेकर चीजों को चलना चाहिए। और मैं ह्यूमन नेचर में एक चीज देखती हूँ कि ना, ह्यूमन नेचर ऐसी है कि कभी भी कोई काम करती है ना तो वो एक्सट्रीम साइड पर जाकर करती है। अभी जैसे अगर हम टेक्नोलॉजी की भी बात कर लें, या फिर अगर हम लोग फॉर एग्जाम्पल लाइक अगर हम किसी फैशन की भी बात करते हैं या कोई भी ट्रेंड चलता है, सब लोग एक ही साइड पर भागते हैं, ठीक है? ऐसा नहीं होता कि, मतलब मैं मेजोरिटी की बात करती हूँ, ऐसा नहीं होता कि कुछ लोग जो मेजोरिटी में कुछ ऐसी चीजें करें जो कि उसको बैलेंस करने का काम कर रही हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि ना ये एक बहुत प्रॉब्लम है इंसान की, कि जो भी उसने काम करना ना उसमें वो बड़ी शिद्दत के साथ आगे चला जाता है, जिसके आपको काफी ज्यादा मुझे लगता है कि साइड इफेक्ट्स देखने पड़ते हैं।
फिर यहाँ पे वही बात आ जाती है कि जब मार्केट में कोई चीज नहीं आती है ना, तो उसका अगर ट्रेंड क्रिएट हो जाता है, बेशक वो फैशन में या किसी चीज में भी हो, तो सारे लोग जो है ना उसके पीछे लगना शुरू हो जाते हैं। जो नहीं लगते ना उनके बीच, अगर वो मेंटली मजबूत नहीं है, तो उनके बीच जो है ना इस तरह का कॉम्प्लेक्स पैदा करने की कोशिश की जाती है कि वो बंदा ना चाहते हुए भी ना उस साइड पर आए। ये हमारे माशरे में एक ही बहुत ज्यादा चीज हमें देखने को मिलती है। फिर उसके बाद जो है ना, फॉर एग्जांपल आज के वक्त में जो है, जो जनरेशन्स हैं जो नहीं आ रही हैं, उनमें जो है ना बर्दाश्त बहुत कम हो चुकी हुई है। हम अगर अपनी बात करें, अपने बचपन की बात करें, तो हम बहुत सारी चीज़ों को बर्दाश्त करते आए हैं, लेकिन आज की जनरेशन जो है वो बाहर के लोग तो दूर की बात है, घर में भी कोई कुछ कह दे तो वो उस तरह चीज़ों को बर्दाश्त नहीं करते।
एक और चीज में भी इसका कारण ये भी हो सकता है कि हम लोग नेचर से बहुत ज्यादा दूर हो चुके हुए हैं, हम लोग अपने रिश्तों से बहुत दूर हो चुके हुए हैं, तो हम लोग उन चीजों को उस तरीके से अंडरस्टैंड नहीं करते। बट जो पर्पस एक हम लोगों को नजर आ रहा है, जिस तरह से सदगुरु जो है, हम देखते हैं कि डिफरेंट डिफरेंट इन्फ्लुएंसर्स के साथ आजकल काफी ज्यादा बात करते हैं और वीडियोस बन रही हैं, तो सेव सोइल को लेकर वो कितने सीरियस है इस मैटर को लेकर, तो वाकई में बहुत ज्यादा ये सोचने वाली बात है। और मुझे लगता है कि ये एक बहुत ही अच्छा कॉज है कि आप लोगों की तवज्जो इस साइड पर लेकर आ रहे हैं कि वो जमीन जो हमें खाना देती है, और जो अगर कम हो जाएगी और आपको लाइक खाना आने वाले टाइम में जैसे वो इतना ज्यादा प्रोड्यूस नहीं कर पाएगी, इतनी फर्टाइल लैंड नहीं रहेगी, तो कितनी ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स आने वाली हैं। और ये वाकई में हकीकत है, वो हम में से भी कोई हो सकता है, वो आप में से भी कोई हो सकता है, बट मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग कि हम लोगों को इसकी तरफ बहुत ज्यादा तवज्जो देने की जरूरत है, क्योंकि जो नंबर्स सामने आ रहे हैं वो कम नहीं है, वो बहुत बड़े नंबर्स हैं। और वाकई में आप अगर आज बहुत सारा फूड एक्सपोर्ट भी करते हो, लेकिन अगर जमीन जो है वो उतनी मतलब कैपेसिटी ही नहीं उसकी रहेगी, तो किस तरीके से फिर लोगों की जो नीड है वो पूरी हो सकती है? फिर छीना झपटी वाली एक बात शुरू हो जाएगी,
सिचुएशन स्टार्ट हो जाएगी। सबसे पहले तो मैं यहाँ पे बात करना चाहूंगा सदगुरु जी की, कि उन्होंने जो एक इनिशिएटिव लिया हुआ है, एक जो चीज लोगों को बता रहे हैं, वो बहुत जरूरी है। क्योंकि हम लोग जो है ना वो पता है उस टाइम जागते हैं जब पानी सर से गुजर जाता है ना, हम लोगों को उस टाइम होश आती है, हाय ये क्या हो गया, हमने तो ये किया नहीं था, ऐसा नहीं था, वैसा नहीं था। लेकिन लिटरली एकदम जो है वो चीजें नहीं बदलती, 1% करके माइनर जो है चीजें मिलकर वो जो है बहुत ज्यादा हालात को जो है खराब कर देती है। अगर मैं बात करूं सदगुरु जी ने जो बीच में की, कि फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे सऊदी अरब है, वहां पर आपको कोई प्रोडक्शन नहीं मिलती फूड की, वो दूसरे मुल्कों से इंपोर्ट करना शुरू कर देता है, लेकिन वो मुल्क भी तब तक ही बेचेंगे जब तक उनके पास अपनी जरूरत से ज्यादा है। अगर उनके पास ही शॉर्टेज होना शुरू हो जाएगी, या वो कह ले कि पूरा ही उनके पास खाना होगा, वो कभी भी जो है दूसरे मुल्कों को जो है एक्सपोर्ट नहीं करेगी, और इससे जो है उन्हीं मुल्कों को जो है वो नुकसान होगा जो कि नहीं है वो, यानी कि उनका प्रोडक्शन वगैरह कोई नहीं है। तो नो डाउट हमें जो है अपनी मिट्टी की तरफ, अपनी जो एक चीजें हैं उनको बैलेंस करने की तरफ जो है बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है। और मुझे यहाँ पर एक जो है ना बुजुर्गों की बातें सुनी होती हैं, तो वो भी याद आती हैं कि एक वक्त ऐसा आएगा कि इंसान गोलियों पर जिंदा रहेगा। तो आई डोंट नो, हाँ फूड की इतनी शॉर्टेज हो जाएगी। तो अगर देख लें अभी भी टाइम तकरीबन वही है,
बिल्कुल उसी हम लोग डायरेक्शन में चलते जा रहे हैं। बाकी सऊदी अरेबिया को लेकर जो बीच में बात की सदगुरु जी ने, मैं थोड़ी सी हैरान हुई थी, क्योंकि इस साइड पर कभी सोचा ही नहीं था, इस तरह का ख्याल ही नहीं कभी मुझे आया था। और उसके अलावा एक एग्जांपल मैं बताती हूँ, जैसे कि शहरों की उन्होंने बात की, शहरों में तो खाना मतलब जो है वो क्रॉप्स वगैरह नहीं होती, तो अभी ये वाकई में एक ऐसी प्रॉब्लम है जो फेस करनी पड़ी है। अभी जैसे मैंने आई थिंक लास्ट डेज में मैंने मौजम से बात की थी, अगर मौजम को याद हो कि मैंने मौजम को बोला था कि मौजम इस मरतबा मैं एक ना ट्री प्लांट करना चाहती हूँ अपनी बर्थडे पे, तो मैंने कहा मौजम कहाँ पर करूं, मुझे समझ नहीं आती, क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली हमारा घर इतना बड़ा नहीं है और आप पौधा जरूर लगा सकते हो, लेकिन मेरा दिल करता है कि मैं ऐसा एक पौधा लगाऊं जो बाद में दरख्त बन जाए। तो मौजम ने बोला है कि अभी तो यहाँ पर तो पॉसिबल नहीं है, बट स्टिल मैं ऐसी जगह कोई ढूंढती हूँ कि जहां पर ऐसा कुछ मैं कर सकूं कि मैं एटलीस्ट एक अगर पौधा भी लगा सकती हूँ ना जो कि बाद में दरख्त बन जाए, तो मुझे लगता है कि मुझे बहुत ज्यादा खुशी
मैंने ये जवाब इन्हें इस वजह से दिया था क्योंकि एक पौधा जो होता है ना वो एक बच्चे की तरह होता है, ठीक है ना। पौधे भी दो टाइप के होते हैं, एक वो है जिसे आप बच्चे की तरह पालते हैं, एक होता है जंगली पौधा, ठीक है ना। वो उस तरह के जिसने जो है बारिशों से पानी लेना है और उसने उसी हिसाब से जो है अपनी ग्रोथ करनी है, वो जंगलों में बेसिकली आपको मिलेंगे, क्योंकि वहां पे तो सिर्फ वही है ना जो कुदरत ने बारिश बरसानी है। एक होता है घर वाला पौधा, उसे आपको बहुत केयर चाहिए उस पौधे को, उसे जो है एक दरख्त बनने के लिए। और हमारे यहाँ पे शहरों में लोगों को पता नहीं है ऐसी वो पता नहीं क्या चीज मैं अब लफ्ज इस्तेमाल करूं कि आते जाते जो है ना वो कुछ भी नहीं होगा, तकलीफ होती है, आते जाते अच्छा खासा पौधा का पकड़ के यूं खींच देंगे।
अच्छा, वैसे मेरा यहाँ पर कहने का मकसद ये था कि शहरों में इतनी ज्यादा तंगी होती है समटाइम्स कि आपको नहीं समझ में आता कि कहाँ पर आप पौधे उस तरीके से लगा सकें कि जहां पर उनकी प्रॉपर केयर हो सकती है। अच्छा, और जो लास्ट बात रणवीर ने एक बात बोली कि लाइक जो हेटर्स होते हैं वो वाली, मुझे ऐसा लगता है ना कि वाकई में आपको अगर अपनी थॉट्स के बारे में, अपनी चीजों के बारे में बहुत क्लियर हो और अगर आपसे कुछ गलती भी हो जाती है आप उसको एक्सेप्ट करते हो और नई नई चीजें सीखते हो, तो आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती उसके। आपको बाकी में टाइम जरूर लगता है उन चीजों को समझने में, लोग आप पर असरअंदाज ना हो, इन सब चीजों को समझने में भी आपके ऊपर टाइम लगता है। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि सिर्फ ये एक प्रोफेशन ही है, आप किसी भी प्रोफेशन में जाएंगे आपको हर जगह ये चीजें फेस करनी पड़ेंगी। तो मुझे लगता है कि विद टाइम आपको चीजें डील करनी आनी चाहिए और अपने दिमाग में कुछ इस तरीके से अपने आप को थोड़ा सेट करना आना चाहिए कि लोगों की बातें और चीजें आप पर उतनी ज्यादा असरअंदाज ना हो। एंड ट्रस्ट मी, एक टाइम लाइफ में ऐसा आता है कि आपके ऊपर चीजें वैसे असरअंदाज नहीं होती, तो मुझे लगता है कि आपकी लाइफ काफी स्मूथ हो जाती है। एनीवे, आपका क्या कहना है इसके बारे में जरूर बताइएगा हमें कमेंट सेक्शन में। ये पूरी डिस्कशन जो आज चली है हम लोग ने फर्स्ट पार्ट में देखी है, उसके बारे में बताइएगा, अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस शेयर कीजिएगा हमारे साथ। और अगर आपको लगता है कि हम शहरों में किस जगह पर अगर मतलब एक ट्री प्लांट कर सकते हैं, कोई आपके पास सोल्यूशन हो, आपका जो ओपिनियन होगा वो जरूर हमारे साथ शेयर कीजिएगा। और इसी के साथ हमें वीडियो
लाइक, सब्सक्राइब, शेयर,
गुड बाय।